growing up in Orange, there was a lot to grapple with. School was seriously a difficult like stretch, because I had it at two intersections, of course, like being gay but also like being culturally different. I used to wish that I had like straight hair because, you know, I was always being othered. I was always like people patting my hair, likening me to an animal like a sheep.
It wasn't just his classmates who gave James Emmanuel a hard time at school. He says his private school's uniform code was strictly enforced against him.
They had policies in place that kind of restricted my Afro-textured hair and any protective styles like braids. Basically, they would say, once my afro grew to this kind of shape, that, you know, it was extreme, unacceptable, doesn't fit the school image.
The school's current policy doesn't prohibit specific hairstyles, but requires boys' hair to be neat and off the collar, with no unorthodox haircuts or colours. In a statement provided to The Drum, Kinross Wallarow's principal acknowledged the need for cultural sensitivity.
Where students of African heritage may have once been a rarity in Australian schools, in recent years numbers have grown and a greater understanding of their needs is emerging. A student's natural hair is central to their identity, and there should be room for negotiation to accommodate this during their school life.
Listen, first off, let me get this off my chest.
Since finishing school 4 years ago, James has moved to Sydney, completed a communications degree and kicked off a career in music.
1, 2, I don't want you anymore.
This year he used his platform to launch a petition calling on education ministers around the country to make it against the law for uniform policies to discriminate against natural afro hair. So far, it's garnered more than 23,000 signatures, and James says he's been inundated with messages from students with stories just like his.
I'm calling for the Anti-Discrimination Act to be amended to protect culturally diverse students from uniform codes and, grooming codes that hinder their cultural identity.
In a response, the New South Wales Department of Education said existing laws already protect Australian students from race-based discrimination.
They don't. Those were around when I was in school, which wasn't too long ago. They were around when other people who have spoken out were in school, and they have not protected us at all.
My question without notice.
The campaign has caught the attention of New South Wales Labor MLC Rose Jackson.
Why is your government failing to acknowledge the concerns of high school students of African descent?
When I heard about James and his story and the petition that he launched and the complete nonsense response that he'd received from the minister, I just felt compelled to ask a question about it.
So we could try and force the minister to sort of intervene. And
the next steps are going to be putting pressure on the minister to be much clearer about the current arrangements under the Anti-Discrimination Act. And if that clarity isn't forthcoming, then I think maybe amendment to the Anti-Discrimination Act should also be considered.
I just need today to be over. Hey, so I can hold you on my shoulder. I just need today to be over.
In the meantime, James is continuing his activism through his music.
I'm trying to build the Australia that I wish I had when I was younger, that more inclusive Australia.